case for those who are new to us, this is Control Camp, CTRL. Control Camp, we are a sync education community, and by sync I mean sync licensing, which involves placing music in TV, advertisements, games, etc. So in this room, you're going to meet the composers, songwriters, music supervisors, executives who operate in this space. You can get your questions answered, you can get your music heard. You can join our mailing list at controlcamp.com. That'll keep you informed. That'll let you know when we do listening sessions, when we have pitch opportunities. We are a free sync education community, so these opportunities are free. I'm building what I hope to be one of the largest free sync education community in existence. So me, I'm your host, Eric Campbell. I've been writing music for television, film, advertisements for over a decade. I have music in a lot of shows. I've worked on set for major television productions. I run an agency that I launched last year called Sus3 Music that helps place music, other people's music into television. I've written songs for actors and celebrities, placed music for other people on television, and you can see my full bio and my profile. I'm just glad that you're here, and I hope when this is done, you're going to agree that it is worth your time. So what we're going to jump into, what I'm going to jump into today, I want to talk about placement strategies for the new year. There's a lot of energy around January, and so I want to get into, how do we take this energy, take these resolutions, move these resolutions into concrete actions and habits that will continue and not burn out, in 4, 6, 8 weeks, but continue all the way through the end of the year and result in hopefully what our goals and our objectives are being met. So before jumping into that, let me just drop a couple of quick announcements just about what's going on with the camp. Some of you, I've been talking about this Control Camp community coming soon. It actually is coming together nice. I was working through the holidays developing our new website. So what this is, we have a kind of like a private community, kind of like our Facebook group, but it's going to be on controlcamp.com. That's where we'll host our listening sessions. We'll have Zoom calls. That's where we'll have our briefs. We're going to have tons. There's so much music that's going to be needed starting in January. So this home on the web where we can kind of put these briefs up, we can make them available to everyone. You can kind of look at a variety of briefs and choose what you want to submit for. All that is going to be launching. Actually, I'll be having beta testing starting next week. So if you turned in a volunteer application at the end of last year, I'll be reaching out to you over the next couple of days. You will be our first batch of beta testers for the new community. So I'm really excited to see that launch. So stay tuned to hear about that in the next couple of days. Speaking of this music, like I said, for my agency, Sus3 Music, I am personally going to be looking for a lot of music this month. I'm going to need a lot of hip hop and R&B that is one stop. It has clean versions. Hopefully it's, all styles from upbeat to even, emotional, anything that kind of works on TV. And then I'm also doing a large collection of ad-friendly music for all genres, pop, rock, EDM, hip hop, etc. And so I'll be on the lookout for more updates about that. As the site launches, those briefs will be there, but because I'm looking for them now, I'll be talking about them. And those of you who know me, I've reached out to some of you for music. You can already kind of start sending me things, but just stay tuned for more information about that. And this Saturday, listening sessions comes back. So this Saturday I'm gonna try to do it an hour earlier. We do a listening session. We were doing them, once or twice a month, and then we haven't done one, I feel like, in a couple of months towards the end of 2021. So we're back this Saturday with a listening session here on Clubhouse. You can submit music. That music you can get some feedback on how it may work for sync placements. You can go to, actually, as I'm talking, I'll post the link at the top of the page in a little bit, but you can go to controlcamp.com and there's a submit page. Control Camp is CTRL camp.com. There is a submit link. You can submit one song, for the Clubhouse listening session. When they ask you what category you're submitting for, and then it'll be this Saturday, 3 o'clock Eastern. So that's noon on the West Coast, and that's 8 p.m. in the UK. So I'm trying to find a time. A lot of times I get a lot of messages from people and on the UK side saying that a lot of our things are too late for them. So I'm trying to move it a little earlier and find a time that works. So I hope that's a good time. 3 o'clock Eastern, 8 p.m. for the UK, noon PST this Saturday. So submit a song, and we look forward to hearing that. All the music will be considered for, like I said, I am looking. You can you can submit anything, but I am personally looking for hip hop, R&B, and ad-friendly music for all genres. So that'll be a good place to have things played and get feedback there. And then Sunday we resume our film score convos. If you got any questions about scoring films, scoring television shows, I talk with Emmy Award-winning composer Matthew Head, who's been in our room many, many times. He's the producer. He works on the show P-Valley. He's working on the show Queens. That's on ABC right now. He has done a bunch of documentaries like on PBS, The Black Church and the Mahalia Jackson story, and Greenleaf, and so many powerful shows that he's been responsible for. And he freely shares a lot of information about not just his scoring process, but also his business relationship process, how he's worked his way up to get these relationships using social networking apps, using DMs and emails, or just meeting people at conferences. Like, he shares a lot of that freely. So that's going to be Sunday at 1 o'clock Eastern, which is 6 p.m. UK time or 10 a.m. Pacific time. So a little early for the West Coast. I'm trying to mix things, give everybody a little easier time, depending on what time zone you're in. And lastly, stick around at the end of this. We have our after party. We're going to kick off the new year with that. If you haven't been here before, these next 2 hours will be kind of a formal talk, kind of like a TED talk around sync licensing. And then at 10 o'clock, we shift to the after party, which is totally more like just a social chat. This is really where we get to know each other. You get the opportunity to really know one another. I get to know you. You get to know the people, the moderators who are on the stage. We don't talk sync in that room. In fact, there's no music talk at all. But we really just get in there and kind of chat and get to know one another. And it's always a good time. And we actually build real bonds there that usually lead to better business later down the road. So to see that room, you actually have to be following. You have to be a member of Control Camp. So click on the icon above my picture that looks like a greenhouse, and that will take you to Control Camp, and just hit follow, and then you'll see the after party when this ends. All right, so jumping in. Oh, first, let me say what's up to Trey Ace. What's going on? How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Appreciate you bringing me up.
Yeah, how's it going?
Good. Just to give a little background real quick, I'm a music supervisor. I'm currently working for Ava DuVernay on 2 shows. I did a couple other shows as well. Outside of that, I was Grammy-nominated songwriter. I've had sync placements on Power, Just Shy, couple other TV shows as well. So I just wanted to tap in real quick, just let you guys know that I'm really looking for some dope R&B soul vibes for a TV show, for one of Ava's TV shows. So would love to collab, and if I know there's a lot of artists and composers in here, so please tap in, get with me, because I'm definitely looking.
Oh, I appreciate you coming in and even sharing that. Oh, now my mind just went blank, but actually on Sundays when we do the film scoring, there's another composer who works on Ava's show. She actually came to Clubhouse and found him, and he scored her
Home Sweet Home.
The Home Sweet Home show.
Yeah, I did that too. She found me too on there.
Oh, that's dope. So
yes.
On Clubhouse.
Yep. So she discovered me on Clubhouse, and then
do you mind
we
sharing
worked on
that
Home
story?
Sweet.
He shared his, and that was just really inspirational. Do you mind sharing how that came together?
Yeah. So my friend slash publicist business partner, she was actually on Clubhouse listening to her, and she was like, "Man, just go ahead and shoot your shot. And I'm not the type of person to really talk or do any of that. So I was like, "All right, cool. I'm gonna just say something." So I raised my hand. She was saying that she was looking for, at the time, like someone with no experience, and that's the type of person she is. She just loved putting, what I'm saying, her people on or whatever. So she was like, I want somebody with no experience to work on this project. She didn't have a big budget or whatever on it. So I raised my hand, and at the time I was working on a show called The Covenant, so I had a little bit of experience, and I was working. And my composer friend, Doremus, him and I was working on this show, and it was coming out on AMC. And so it was our first project. And so I was telling her about it. She was like, well, I'm not looking for a music supervisor. However, I might have something for you. Just DM me and I'll get back with you in a couple of days. So I was like, all right, cool. So I just DM'd her the next day, DM'd her the day after, and she reached back out. She was like, all right, I got something for you. So we worked on a Home Sweet Home. She had a premiere of the Home Sweet Home in LA. I'm in Atlanta. So I flew out there for less than 24 hours just to meet her. She was like, no, it's not a big deal. You don't have to come. But I knew that if I get face to face with her, that, more opportunities would come. So I flew out there for like 10 hours just to go to the Home Sweet Home. After that, energy was great. She liked everything that I did. So she gave me like 2 or 3 more shows just because I went out there and, was able to feel her energy, met face to face. So, great opportunity, just to be a part and learn from her whole team, her whole staff, and her as well. So that's a little bit about my story of how I got
Yo,
started.
that is amazing, bro. Like one, just like taking a shot and just putting yourself out there, and then going the extra mile to be like, you know what, let's do the face to face and really cement the relationship. That says a lot about just yourself, and I have a lot of respect for that. So
I
kudos
appreciate that. Thank you.
to all of that. And if you're free Saturday, come through. Um, we're doing our listen session. I'm telling people to bring the hip hop and R&B, and you're always welcome. I also, you're always welcome. We can chop it up. I'm always happy to host just a listening session for specific things. So if you're looking specifically for R&B soul vibes, I can put the word on the network. And we've done some curated listening sessions for a couple of different agencies, and by the time they come, we've already filtered through so that the music that's played is top notch, and then people are able to check it out, and you're able to leave the stuff that you're looking for. So happy
Yeah,
to be a resource. If
that would be
that's
perfect.
helpful.
That would definitely be perfect for sure.
Awesome, awesome. Yeah, no doubt. Isaiah, I saw you jump up. What's going on?
Hey Eric, how you doing, man?
Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Happy New Year to everyone. I really just wanted to pop up and say thank you as well. Literally, you were the main reason I got my first sync agent, which was Rashad Richardson, that I met through
That's
Control
my
Camp.
guy.
That's a good dude.
And literally by the end of the year, last year, I got my first sync placement with a movie. It was a holiday movie called Pups Alone, and like I really, first of all, I just wanted to say thank you for creating Control Camp, because you were one of the big components of how I got connected to 6FS, and literally the start of getting into my sync journey. So now I'm really just looking forward, looking for the next thing, looking for the next situation to work with, and looking for more creatives to work with. So I really just want to say thank you so much. Control Camp is something that is definitely needed. And now that I'm kind of like getting back into the swing of things, I would definitely be in the listening sessions as regularly as I can to look for the next opportunity. And if anybody needs a vocalist or a songwriter, I'm always here.
So, yo, man, so proud of just you looking at it with Rashad and the placements coming through, and just putting yourself out there. Your voice is amazing, so people need a singer. Isaiah is definitely one to shout out to. So proud of you, bro. Appreciate you even just sharing the accolades. So I didn't know about the placement, so I'm glad to hear you share that.
Thank you so much, man. I'm gonna take my ass back to the audience and just listen more.
That's all good, all good. I want to say what's up to Armelia. I don't think we know each other, but I used to live in Atlanta, and I remember seeing your name all the time. And so I don't know if you're involved in music, but I just wanted to say what's up and give you a chance to introduce yourself.
She's a big deal.
Thank you, Trey. Thank you, Eric, for allowing me to have the floor in your room. I appreciate that. Hello, everyone in the audience. I'm actually going to rejoin the audience shortly. I just wanted to say, main reason that I'm in this room is because of Trey Ace. I have known Trey for over 10 years now, and when I tell you that the gentleman is incredibly humble, he is very, 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 very humble. And to see his
I
journey
appreciate it.
now up until from then up until now, it just makes me feel good to know that I may not have been in the front seat of the car, but I was definitely in the car to be able to just ride on this journey and to see where he's at. And Eric, he's an incredible person. He is I don't like to say a hard worker, because really, what does that mean? I like to say that he's smart with what it is that he does, and he's very creative with his projects, and he tends to keep people very close to him, and he gives the janitor the same respect that he gives the CEO. So for any individuals that are in the audience that are looking to connect to an amazing songwriter, that's Trey. Anybody that's looking to connect to a dope human being that's in the music industry, that's Trey. And so with that being said, I am going to, and I no longer do music. I used to be involved heavily in some stuff with music, but now I am a full-time actress. And yeah, God has blessed me with that, and just being a poet and a community activist still. So with that, Eric, again, thank you for allowing me to have the floor. I'm going to go ahead and retreat back to the audience.
Man, thank you so much. That's crazy.
Thank you,
I
Amelia.
appreciate you.
I appreciate that, and I appreciate getting just hearing your introduction. And thank you for stopping in the room. I appreciate you. And also, let me just also shout out Matt. I saw you. I don't think we've met. I don't think you've been on our stage before. Have you, Matt Moss?
No, I don't think so. I think I popped in a room once or twice in last
Yeah,
month,
but I saw your bio, and got a lot of placements. So I wanted to get a chance to meet you and get you a chance to introduce yourself to the room if you didn't mind.
yeah, sure. So, my name's Matt. I've been doing sync, I guess, for the last 12 years, but only probably successful the last 8 or 9 years. I took a break last year, but I'm getting back into it, and I've kind of heard some of your story, Eric. I think we have a lot of the same friends from the taxi crowd. That's kind of how I got my start.
Awesome.
Gosh, yeah, 10 or 11 years ago, hanging out with those guys and just going to different
Sounds like
conferences
we
and
started
stuff.
around
And
the same time.
probably, yeah. So see, I'm 37. I think I started when I was 25, 26, something like that.
That is great.
Yeah. Yeah. And
So do
so,
you
I
do
mean,
are you a producer, songwriter, top liner, or all of the above?
well, I mean, over time, I've become close to all of the above, but I was mainly a producer and instrumental cue writer. And then I started singing, doing lyrics as well. But I always love, getting to team up with another singer and I'll just make the track. But some of the music I do, I'll do it all, And then I come from like a kind of an audio engineer and mix background. Um, that's kind of how I started off.
Nice. Oh, well, good to meet you. Feel free to hang out and share some information. And as we're talking, no pressure to, but you're totally welcome to hang out
Oh,
and
for
share.
sure. Thank you, Eric.
Cool. All right. And also, it's a good amount of Atlanta people here. I was in Atlanta for the last 15 years. I only moved here to Greenville with my wife. My wife, Raisha, is in the audience. If you see Raisha, she doesn't have a picture there, but she sneaks in the room sometimes and says, "Hey." So if you ever see Raisha, that's my wife down there in the audience. Um, but we moved out to Greenville, South Carolina at the top of the pandemic. But I'm still, traveling to Atlanta and do work there. But I see a lot of Atlanta folk here. So I see Delina in the audience from the writing sessions group, and so it's Trey and Amelia. So it's really cool to see Atlanta represented in here. All right, so hold on. I see another hand. Say what's up to Jesse.
Happy New Year, Eric and everybody.
Happy New Year, Jesse. What's good?
Everything's good. I just wanted to say that this community is so amazing, and it really came into play literally yesterday. I got asked to Music Soup, an indie film. It's a micro budget, and I was able to call up a music supervisor that we met here and just ask her, like, what do I need to know in the shortest amount of time so I know what I'm doing? Because I got to do some TV stuff, some trailer stuff last year at the end of the year, which was awesome. But this would be like my first, film project. So I needed some advice. And if it wasn't for this community, I would feel like I just I wouldn't feel as comfortable as I am now. And I just have to say that of all the places and communities that have been created around sync, this one is the realest and like the most supportive and most um, cooperative. And I mean that in like the best spirit possible, because she literally was like, I'm here to help you, whatever you need. I'm here to build up like across woman to woman also, which is huge, especially for the entertainment industry. As you guys know, I've been a producer for over a decade now, and it's been interesting that there are more female producers now, but not a lot. But how women in our community are lifting each other up within entertainment is inspiring, and I'm just so grateful, so grateful.
I love that. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate that. I appreciate, what you've contributed, and like you said, as a writer, as a producer, your contribution. So we're here. We're rooting for you too here. So thank you for being a part.
Thank you.
All right. So De Lamont is here. And before you say what's up, I actually want to bring Trey Ace back up really quick. While he's coming up, what's going on, De Lamont? De Lamont, can you hear me? I think you're still muted.
Sorry, I was changing my profile pic with you.
You're funny.
I just wanted to say what's up, man. I appreciate you guys. Glad y'all back on this week, and I can't wait to hear some goodies. And
Well, actually, so I don't know if Trey is able to come back on, but I don't think you were here. So Trey Ace was just up on stage a little while ago. He's the producer he's a supervisor, songwriter. He works with Ava DuVernay. He's doing some awesome stuff, and he's looking for R&B soul vibes. And I want you two to connect because Trey, if you can hear me, De La Mons, we work on music together. He's a dope singer, hardworking, just one of those who keeps his feet to the grind, easy to work with, dope ideas, really good writers. And so I know you're looking for, and Trey is in Atlanta, but De La Mons just won a trip to Atlanta from the Making Mag competition. Making it, Kirby
yeah,
Kelby's
making it mad.
Kelby's magazine. And so he's gonna. When you coming to Atlanta for that?
That's next Thursday.
Oh, next week.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So anyway,
But
I don't know if he was
flights
able to
to
get on stage.
ATL from Cleveland is cheaper than driving from 30 miles away to Cleveland. So it's nothing.
Yeah, I'm trying to get Trey back on stage. He's trying to raise his hand, but for some reason, Clubhouse is acting up. Well, there he goes. So yeah, Trey De La Mons is going to be in town next week. I think he's definitely someone that you could link with. I co-signed him 100%.
Oh, he's from Cleveland too, so it's all good. I'm born and raised in Cleveland, so
Hey,
we definitely got a link.
nice to meet you.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Cool. Yeah, I just wanted to introduce you two because I think that would be good chemistry.
Dope.
All right, we got the dude Rashad on the stage as well. What's going on, bro?
Hey, what's happening, Eric? And what's happening, everybody?
What's up, Rashad?
What up, Trey?
Happy New Year, bro. Good to see you.
Yes, Happy New Year. Hope everybody had a nice holiday break. We back to it.
Yeah, we're back to it for real, for real. So what's going to tell us? Reintroduce yourself to us. We got some new people here. Rashad, and I know things are starting heavy for you, so I know you're looking for music. So tell who you are and tell people what you're looking for.
For sure. So I am a sync agent who runs a black-owned sync agency. Um, let's see. I would say shout out to Isaiah in the crowd. Just landed a placement with him on a Paramount film, right during the holidays. I work with Trey Ace as one of his go-tos when he's looking for music under tight deadlines. And as far as like actual music that I'm looking for, I'm hoping to expand and get more Latin music. I definitely want to get more K-pop music as well. And last but not least, just more energetic cinematic hip hop. It's definitely, as a lot of y'all probably know, Daraj, definitely want to just, get more go-to people on my team who can master dynamics, builds, and just that energy that really sells trailers.
So I actually got a whole project I'm going to send you, Rashad. We did an entire cinematic hip hop project. De La Mons, who's on stage, is also one of the artists on it. So you're going to love it.
Please send that through. Yes.
I got you. Hold on. Room is looking nice. Forgive me for being slow trying to talk. I just saw Andrew. Well, I thought I did. If anybody sees Andrew Scott Bell in the audience, pull him up. I thought I saw him. All right, so let me jump into the program. It's really cool seeing everybody back. And we'll just keep talking. We'll keep the conversation moving, but I'm glad we have people on stage, and I'm keeping it open, so even as we talk about stuff, people can feel free to raise their hand and jump up and chime in on the convo, because it kind of affects us all. I really want to do kind of like start off with like a New Year's check-in and kind of how we are feeling as a community. Like this is like a time of year where everybody's motivation in normal times is really at the high. This is where we kind of reset our goals. We throw things at the wall. We were talking about psychosis last year. He was like, you know what, I'm into this year, I'm leaving my job. And December came and he walked away from his job and is doing music and real estate, doing his businesses full time. And so things like that, like this is what this time of year normally is for. And we also have the risk of getting real hyped around our goals and then having it kind of maybe petering off in February or March. And so I want to kind of talk to us as a community and one, gauge how we're feeling, kind of, maybe provide some motivation, inspiration to keep us taking actions. Like take these resolutions, turn them into habits, and have that consistent action that generates results, and not just be something that we say, but actually fruit that we're going to see at the end of this year. So some of you want placement, some of you want to just be better about creating music, some of you have businesses that you want to start, some of you want to be on the supervisory side. Whatever your goals are, having hold on, I'm going to switch up a little bit. Whatever your goals are, um, having them articulated and then having a plan. I want us as a community to band together and make sure that happens. I'm a fan of this book called Atomic Habits, and the author's name is James Clear, and there's a quote in there I like. He says, "Your outcomes are a lagging measure of your habits." The outcomes that you get are a lagging measure of your habits. So what he means by that is the things that we're working on today are going to determine what we achieve in the future. And actually, from his words, the things that we consistently work on today is what we achieve in the future. So it's not always just saying it, and it's not even just starting it, which is what January is good for. But it's what habits can we create, like using this motivation to create habits that, so if that habit is, I'm getting up every morning and I'm working on, writing something, writing a verse, writing a chorus, working on an idea, or every week I'm going to make sure I'm in the studio on the weekend, or, if I'm juggling family or other responsibilities, I'm going to have a regular routine where I'm meeting with my collaborators once a week or bi-weekly or whatever the I don't even think the pace is as much as critical as the consistency in it. So that's one thing I want to throw into the air as we have this New Year's motivation. But the other thing that I've just in talking to people and just knowing, like, this is not a normal New Year's for a lot of people. Um, it hasn't been for a few years. We're going on the third year of this pandemic, and so I know for some people there's a lot of conflicting emotions. So where some people would normally be real hype and motivated and driven at this time of year, other people are finding it, that they're less motivated. Maybe you're more distracted. And so I want to speak to that group as well, and first say that that's okay. Like it's for now it is normal. It's like it's a new normal, and it's not an unusual place to be. I do a lot. I'm a big psychology. I like a lot of different subjects, but there's this pyramid in psychology that they talk about called Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Some of you have heard about this, and it talks about how if you look at all of the things that like a person needs in a pyramid, at the very bottom of that pyramid are our physiological needs. So that's like air, food, drink, clothing, warmth, like the things that we need to like basically survive. And so from there become other needs that are less critical than the other. And so the things at the very bottom of the pyramid, we need so badly that we can't even focus on anything above it until that base need is met. So if you're starving for food, you're not going to care about whether you have friendships or whether you are in a good relationship or whether you're living the life that you want. All your mind, your whole emotion is going to be thinking about is, where's my next meal coming from? And so physiological needs are at the bottom of that pyramid. But right above that, is safety. And so that includes things like your security, knowing that the world works in a certain order, health issues, emotional issues, all that is right above uh, physiological needs. And so above that, you'll get needing to be loved, needing to belong to a community. Above that, you get needing self-esteem, needing to know that you're worthy and that you have purpose. And then above that, you have like self-actualization, like be the need to kind of grow and become the you that you envision. But that is at the very top of the pyramid. So if you're coming into the new year and there's a part of you that wants to focus on, being this next best version of you, but we're in this season where our very safety is in question, or we're unsure about the order of the world. It's not unusual, or there's nothing wrong with you if you're not able to focus on music or building your business or trying to level up and do all those things. So I want to put some context in that for people, because I know in this time different people are reacting, different people are impacted different ways, and wherever you are, if you're right now are focused on, hey, I'm trying to get these sync placements, I'm trying to get my music on television, I'm trying to do that, I got a plan, I just need information, then we're here to provide that information. But if you're in a place where you're like, I know I need to write, but I just can't get there right now, I want you to know that that's not there's nothing wrong with that. That's totally understandable. It's understandable at any time, but it's especially understandable right now. To gauge anyone who's on stage, just anyone who wants to volunteer. How are you feeling just in this time? Are you feeling charged up? Are you feeling ready to go? Or are you wrestling with anything? If anything I said resonated, I just kind of want to know where people on stage are. Psychosis, you there? I know you. Psychosis was showing the house, so he may not be able
Yeah,
to
I'm
talk.
I'm I'm here, bro. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Yeah. Look, shout out to you for hitting that Maslow's hierarchy of needs, bro. That's a psychology 101 right there. Um, At this time, where I'm at right now is a combination, if I'm being honest, is a combination of uh, excited and anxious, which are, can sometimes be opposite sides of the same coin. Because of course, like, you were talking about needs that we have in the world, like your safety. Like I have an infant, 4-month old daughter that I'm responsible for, and a 5-year old son that I'm responsible for. In the middle of a pandemic, their school just went virtual, so now I'm trying to help be part of the teacher, be the breadwinner and provider, while also, you know, basically changing the full course of my life and what it has been for, my whole adult life, working a full-time job. And now all of the money and all of the security will be based off of my input and what I'm able to do, which is why, I was just out, showing the house. But I'm also very excited because I made a decision that I know it'll help me look at myself in the mirror. Regardless of the outcome, I'll be able to say, you took that shot, you created that shot, and you took that shot. And you shouldn't feel bad about whether or not that shot goes in. You put yourself in position to get open and shoot the ball. You shot the ball. If it goes in, it was the right thing to do. If it doesn't, you still know it was a good shot. So I feel like that's where I am. That my emotional stability right now is based off of the fact that I set these goals a long time ago. I worked on these goals and I gave it my all. And so if it fails, I feel like it was just supposed to fail because I feel like I got as prepared as I think I could have possibly got for music, for life, for family. I feel like I got as prepared as I could. So if it just goes completely left, I also like, well, I won't feel destroyed about it because I can't see what I would have done differently. I don't feel like I was lacking. I feel like I got as prepared as I could, and let's go forward. So I'm coming into this year with a new album. I just released a new single on New Year's Eve. I just shot a video a couple days ago. I have an album that I'm working on. Then I have an EP that I'm gonna be working on right after that. I bought my ticket to Durango so I can get ready to pitch some music starting in February. So it's like I sorry about that. I feel like as far as music goes, I've done as much as I can to get prepared, and that way I feel like it balances out with the anxiety that I may or may not have from time to time.
Bro, I love everything you said, especially like the picture you painted. I think it's so helpful for a number of reasons because you've started down a path. You like I said last year, you put out a goal, leaving my job. I'm magnifying what I've got going on with these sync placements, and I'm just going to capitalize on it. And I'm going to put out more music, and you've got all those steps, and so it's so clear from what you're saying. You've got a momentum, and so of course you got to have the energy of now. I put myself out there. I've got to keep this going. I've got to keep pushing. I've got to keep grinding. But at the same time, you know, we can't ignore the anxiety, the pressure, the state of the world. What's going on with your kids, and or there's that's a whole real thing. So I appreciate you just sharing that because I know you're not the only person in the room. I'm sure not even just for music, but just entrepreneurs in general. Um, I can imagine, you know, I can imagine the struggle no matter what field you're in. So I appreciate you sharing that, um, putting that out
Nah, man,
there.
I appreciate you for making it a space, like, because for me, I feel like that's my biggest contribution to this group and to this platform is to bring the levity of what's real. Like, so when we first got on Clubhouse, it was common to hear people say it's a lot of cap on this app because people would over exaggerate their importance, their roles. I got 17 Grammy nominations and this and that. And you feel like, and some of those people were telling the truth and some were exaggerating. And if you somebody is trying to figure it out, like that gets very intimidating very easily. And I think it's important for everybody, no matter what you've done professionally, to realize we all still figuring it out. Like, even people who've been doing it for a long time are still figuring it out because whatever you did last week don't matter no more. hey, what I did, my last accomplishment already don't count no more. I got to work on the next goal. You know, some people will walk around and memorize their resume, but most people are like, who are you? So you constantly reinventing yourself and constantly reintroducing yourself. And people who look like they got it all together are still trying to figure it out. And I think that's important to give yourself the space to know, done is better than perfect because perfect will never get done. And that you should just do your best. And it's cool, however that goes and however that looks. And, as long as you're doing the best thing you can do while taking sound advice and taking steps, and don't just do it on a whim and a prayer, but you making the moves to put yourself in position so that even if it fails, there's no reason you should feel bad. And that's kind of the mental space I'm getting in. Like, everything I do could just not work, and I will not feel bad because I know I did everything I could possibly do. And that's the only way I'm gonna be able to look myself in the mirror and not have a whole, man, son, when I was your age conversation in my head for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? To have to not live with the what ifs. That's shoot the shot. That's kind of like the only way I can look at it right now.
Man, so you just gave me like ideas for like two more rooms. One, the whole shooting the shot thing, and then taking the risk, but the attitude. Like I feel like even like risk. There's a whole thing on like just risk taking in general. Like I mean, a lot of us, you know, I'm I'm not the first generation in my family to go to college. I'm the second, but I'm the first to start my own business, and so coming from parents who are kind of, you go to work and you retire, and then being in a generation where you're looking and you're seeing that other people can do things other ways. You want more for your kids or your kids' kids, and you're trying to strategize how to level up. I've learned that risk taking is a big part of it, like, and taking big shots, taking big risks also mean that you can fall flat on your face. Like I moved to Atlanta with, a few months worth of income in my pocket, and I thought I would. I thought I had a plan, and that plan busted, and I was evicted within like 6 months of moving to the city, and had to come up with a whole brand new plan and start from scratch. And took me like a year or two to figure out how to teach music lessons, and I built a business of in-home music lessons, and finally got back on my feet before finding sync placements. But I've always been a shot taker, and being able to take shots knowing it is one thing to be like you should always think positive and think like, okay, I'm doing this, I know it's going to work, I believe it's going to work, I can speak it out, it's going to work. But at the same time, to know that realistically I could take this shot and I could fail. And if I fail, that might mean somebody doesn't eat, or I might lose this apartment, or I might lose my car, or I might lose that. And that's a very big part of it. So being able to um, mentally be okay with that um, is, I think it's big, but I think it's also necessary because I don't think we can make the types of change that some of us want to make or feel led to make, in whether it's in our families or in our communities or in this world, without taking big risks, which risk means we might fall, we might fail at it. So I appreciate you sharing that, Psychosis. That inspires me a lot.
Man, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate this room of everybody who's not just positive but practical. That's the most important part. And I know everybody who's in this room and who's been in this room, we're all taking the risk. When you sit down and you create something that didn't exist, the first risk you're taking is nobody else but you might like it. And sometimes we don't even like it, right? So you've already taken a risk by trying to create something that didn't exist. So, just don't stop there. Just keep going. And it's a chance that song, lyric, beat, whatever score you created could change your life and other people's life.
Love it, love it. What's up, Adam? I saw you jump up. How's it going?
Yeah, man, good. How are you? Happy New Year. Happy belated holidays. What's
Happy
up,
New
everyone?
Year.
Nice to see everyone back in the room, 2022. New Year's. I just want to say, first of all, Eric, thank you for starting this room last year in the heat of pandemic, and in Toronto we're like locked down again, so it feels like 2022. You know,
Wow. Yeah.
it's kind of definitely different political views on what people people are thinking and what's going on. But besides that, so thank you for starting this community and just honestly keeping it going. We had our chat, keeping the support. Like, didn't have as many big wins as I thought I wanted this year. I did have a few and some commercials, which is awesome. But I think when I'm listening to you guys, kind of like broken telephone, repeating the overall message, like this community is keeping me going. And every brief that you work on, especially because I mean, Eric, and no one else here really knows me too well, but I'm mostly trying to kind of do bespoke composition for TV. Like, again, I do have a pretty big library, but just doing pitches and doing reworks and like, man, like as much as I'm hating some stuff that I didn't get any demo fee on or I'm not placing it, it's so much work. It's almost like just the hours put in, you're just getting better every single time. And if you enjoy the process, it's just about keeping on because like eventually something's gonna click, and it's all about those 10,000 hours. So I guess thank you guys so much for keeping this group alive, keep me inspired. And if I have any words of advice to everyone else, just like keep on doing it and keep on just improving your craft. You'll never stop learning.
Big ups, Adam. I appreciate that. And yeah, people tell me this all the time because I know I do it myself, but then I can hear it easier when somebody else does it. Like, you had wins, so don't downplay them. Big ups for the wins that you had. And I think I always, you know, set really, really big goals at the top of the year. And sometimes the risk of that is if I don't make all the goals I set, then I feel like I lost. But I'm fortunate to have some friends and loved ones who remind me to celebrate each step along the way and not just wait until everything lines up before the celebration starts. So kudos on the placements that you got. That's awesome. So
Can I add
really, really,
something?
please go for that.
I learned a couple of years ago this piece of advice, which I think was really helpful. Not setting goals, but setting targets. Because with a target, when you're aiming at something, you can take multiple shots at the target until you hit the bullseye. With a goal, it feels finite and we can sort of judge ourselves for not reaching the goal. But a target's meant to be shot at multiple times, And that is sort of like helps calm my anxiety. Gave up working full time for anyone else besides myself some 13 years ago. And even though it's been a journey, the bottom can fall out any minute. And so I have constant anxiety about that. I think we'd have to be insane not to have anxiety in the ever-changing world that we live in and the ever-changing business and how technology changes our business so often and so frequently and in ways that we cannot predict. I feel like in my parents' era, they could pretty much predict what was going to happen day to day, year to year. But we now live in a time where that is not the case. And so, how I deal with the anxiety is said, okay, didn't reach that target. Let's shoot again and add another one after that. And it seems to help a lot. So hopefully it can help everybody in the room to look at it that way.
I love that, Jesse. That's really, really helpful. I totally agree. I mean, like I said, taking a shot, there's going to be anxiety even in normal times. The cool thing about, for the whole room, and this is how I think what helps me. I've had my share of losses. Like this last year with being, control camp doing what it's doing and with the agency and all that, like I talk about a lot of wins, but the road getting here was filled with lots of really, really big losses, both personal and professional. And so I had to navigate through a lot of those different feelings, a lot of emotional turmoil, dealing with a lot of perfectionism and feeling like a failure and questioning whether I should stay on the path. But what's always kept me going, and I feel like the blessing that we have as creatives, we have this unique ability to take even the crap, even all the turmoil, all the worst things that happen to us, and we can create, like, it's still feeds us. No other professional really has that, where the negative things can still apply to even your professional business endeavors, So I it's we have just being able to take whatever you're feeling in this moment, even right now, like the top of this year, you may not, whether you're having your anxiety or whether you feel distracted, not able to focus on, there's a pitch coming up that you could participate in, but you can't find the wherewithal to get around. That's still something to write about, whether you're writing it for a song, whether you're writing it in a journal that might feed a song later. Whatever your feelings are, I'm a big advocate in writing your feelings, because the turmoil that you're navigating right now, there are lots of other people navigating that same turmoil that don't have the ability to write about it. They don't have the skill set or the gift to articulate what they're feeling. That's why young people listen to music so much, because they don't have the vocabulary to articulate what their hormones are doing to them and the range of emotions that they're feeling and all the turmoil going in their families. They don't have the words. They haven't matured in their vocabulary. So when a song speaks to them, they that's why they become such big fans and so passionate, because those songs are saying what they cannot articulate. And so those of us who have the ability to put words or music or art behind whatever feelings that we have, um, that's our way. That's our therapy for ourselves, but also our therapy for other people. So I'm a big advocate of writing what you're feeling, and even if it doesn't fit a brief right now. Like a lot of us took 6FS, Kathy Heller's sync class, and a lot of that was focused on advertisements. And so now a lot of us have the mindset that, okay, well, if I'm going to work on this, I have to write upbeat stuff. I have to write optimistic things. I have to write, things that can work for a brand. So that's, nice, relevant, but still upbeat things. But if you're not feeling that right now, and if you're struggling with just getting up in the morning, you can write about struggling just getting up in the morning. First of all, there's TV shows that need that song. It might not work for an ad, but there's places that need the "I'm struggling to get up in the morning"
Big
song. That
time.
will.
Agree 100%, man. I'm sorry to step on you.
No, no,
But
no. I
I
appreciate
really
the cosign.
appreciate the message you're putting out there. Another way to put that out is be prolific, be productive, be prolific, create content, create a library, so that so many people contact me and say, "Oh, I've got 5 great songs." So that's sorry, that's just the beginning point. Keep improving with every song. Keep improving.
Yes, most definitely,
It's
Randy.
crazy you say that, Eric, because I literally do that all the time. Like right now, I'm trying to find direction. Like okay, what does the advertisers need, and what do I need to create in order for people to, to have something for them to, bite into. But when I'm creating based on just whatever. Even when I've had mental blocks, I've written songs about losing something that I had before, literally talking about losing my creativity that I usually have. I'm I'm creating this song in a general fashion about losing something that I had before, and I hope I get it back, and how I'm just so excited about the day that I get it, or maybe sad about the fact that I can't get it when I feel like I need it the most. And there's even been times where I feel like even my darkest moment that I wrote a song about eventually, but my darkest moment was my brother had passed away. He was missing for a couple of days. And I actually was on site with the officer who found his body in the river. And it was almost like a lifetime moment when it started raining and everything. And there was 2 things that came to my head. One, I'm probably going to need counseling because this is messed up. And the second thing was, I think I'm going to write a really dope song about this one day. And I literally did. There's never been a time in which I haven't had anything to just write about. But my problem is always trying to find out in what ways can I make sure I put that out, because it's like I don't want to. I literally just wrote a song earlier. Like I don't want to just release every song that I create, So like it's just trying to find what places to put those in as an artist and a
Do you, do you know the song
songwriter and all that.
Daniel? Daniel by Elton John.
Yeah, yeah.
He goes, Daniel, my brother, you are older than me. Do you still feel the pain of the scars that won't heal? Your eyes have died. You've seen more than I. Hey, that's a sad song, but heavy, but
Hmm.
timeless,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that's so powerful. Taylor Mons, like I relate to that in so many ways. Even the whole "this will make a great song." Like if you just heard that, somebody who wasn't a musician, that could sound kind of cold. But I had the exact same thought when my second wife passed away suddenly, and I
Mm.
grieved so hard for so long. But the whole time I also knew like I get to write about this, and I was just grateful that everything I'm feeling right now can go into a song, and and that is a blessing that we have
Yeah, because like you
that
said,
I
it's
don't take for
therapy.
granted.
It's I know that people may hear it and may think like, oh, that's kind of dark, kind of sad, But I also like Ecclesiastes. But I also recognize myself. I recognize that the best way for me to realize how I feel or what I feel about a certain thing is to create a song about it or to just write about it in general. And that's how I'm able to get through it.
Same here, same here. This is so powerful, so powerful. Um, I love where this is going. Let me see where stop. So, Randy, we chatted with you, but I don't think I got to introduce you. Can you introduce yourself and just let people know who you are?
Who made Randy?
Yeah.
I'm a music publisher. I've been doing Love Cat music for 22 years. Uh, and I'm also a songwriter myself and a lover of music. And I enjoy talking about sync. I've been in the film and TV world mainly, not really advertising because good luck. It's like saying I'm in the lottery ticket business, whereas the film and TV business is more my speed. And I'm always looking for original songs. And I tell people I'm looking for quality recordings of original songs. No samples, obviously. I'm not looking for covers. Everything I do is one stop. And um, all the co-writers have to be down and available. Like if one of your co-writers is signed to EMI or Sony, we're not going to be able to work with the song. Do you know what I'm saying?
That's a very valid point. You're
Yes.
not the first
Oh,
that said that.
it's always got to be one stop to work with people like me. And my other tips to people are, you know, as many real instruments as possible, to differentiate yourself because there's a lot of music out there. Just use as many real instruments as possible, even if it's drum samples, samples of real drums, etc. Just focus on the quality because that's what we're competing against. We're competing against a lot of high quality music out there. And the vocals have got to be right. And of course, do an instrumental mix. Always do an instrumental mix because sooner or later someone will ask you for that.
I appreciate you. I believe you've been on this stage before. I just wanted to have you
Yes. Yeah.
introduced again.
It's
So
it's a pleasure to be back. You have a great
thank you.
audience and you really do a great service.
Oh, thank you
And,
so much.
for just, you demystify the process.
Yes.
That's what's going on. You've demystified it.
Yeah,
Um,
I really struggled when I started trying to learn, just trying to learn. Matt Moss was up here earlier, and he was, we both of us uh, learned a lot from Taxi. But even before then, I struggled so hard just to find information, and it's one of the reasons why I'm so passionate now about putting the information out there because I think the industry needs it, and we all benefit from it because someone like you, me who looks at music, Rashad who looks at music, like we need people who understand what one stop is. We need people who understand that not dealing with samples. We need people who understand the business side, and the more creatives that understand how sync works, um, the better for all of us. The more content that we're all going to have to work with. So I'm really just passionate about putting the info out there.
well, I mean, the size of your room is really impressive. I have to give it up. You've got a
Oh,
lot
thank
of
you.
people in this room, a lot of people in this room. Here, I'll just leave you with one other comment. I happen to prefer songs that don't have curses in them, that are non-explicit. And I recommend that, but I know a lot of people laugh at that. A lot of people say, "Oh, dude, you're old school." You know, I hear curses in the songs on TV all the time, but I still say that you have more opportunities with the song that's not explicit. What say you?
I agree that you have more opportunities, but I think also now there probably are more opportunities for the explicit things than there've ever been before, just with the variety, just with the total types of TV shows that are out there. But no matter what, so I kind of feel like there's room for like whatever you do as an artist. If there's more time now than ever before to do you, especially in the hip hop R&B space. But you definitely need your clean versions. You definitely and not if you're going to get into the ad side, then yeah, you definitely have to. That's definitely non-explicit zone. But I feel like TV's broadening, and so you can find a lot of I mean, all the star shows, all the power spinoffs, like you can the music is real authentic hip hop, what you would hear on the radio, and so I think it's which is cool because then whoever you are as an artist, you can find a home. But what are you hearing, Rashad? You're out. You got your ears to the ground.
Yes, I'm pretty much agreeing with both of y'all simultaneously, just because I guess my ultimate takeaway is, hey, you love to do explicit songs, if that's part of your just your overall thing as an artist, cool. But please, as you record a explicit song, please always record a clean version at the same time. Because the worst thing
And
that
a
could happen,
qualitatively good one, a high quality one, not something with a ton of beeps in it, because that's no fun, right?
I gotta agree with that too. It's been times where I've been in a situation where we've had a song that could have landed. The music supervisor is like, "Hey, do you have the clean version?" And we've even hustled to, have the engineer do a clean version in like 30 seconds. But just like Randy said, it's situations where, instead of keeping the beat riding while they mute the vocals, they mute the whole song, which completely defeats the purpose
I hate
almost.
that.
I hate it too. Like, but there are certain people.
I lost. Oh, you muted for a
Um,
second.
I'm even
yeah,
recommending going further than that. I'm recommending writing and recording a clean version with no edits at all.
I agree. I think
That would be the
that's the way.
highest level of professionalism in my opinion.
I agree
Yeah,
with you,
I
Randy,
agree.
too. I think you get the most mileage that way. Yeah, I agree. You get the most mileage that way.
Yep.
Very cool. Okay, we've been going. Let me do a quick reset. It's over. We come up on the last 45 minutes. So, if you come in here, this is Control Camp. We are a community for Think Education, Think being music for television, film, and ads. And we have been talking about just kind of the energy going into this new year, focused on trying to stay productive, but also dealing with the very any emotional turmoil that these crazy times are having, and how do you do that and still stay productive, or it's okay to not be productive at all, to be wherever you are. So we've been just kind of talking about that for the last hour. If you want to know more about Control Camp, you can go to controlcamp.com, which is CTRL camp.com. We've got our listening session coming up this Saturday. So also on controlcamp.com, you can submit one song, and we will. You get an opportunity to have it played Saturday at our listening session, which starts at 3 p.m. Eastern. You can look on our profile page and see the upcoming rooms here on Clubhouse. So you can submit one song on our website. You submit it on the website, and then if you're in the room, we'll play the song and just give you feedback on its syncability. You've heard a number of people on stage: Rashad, me, Trey was up here a little earlier, who are all looking for R&B and hip hop. Rashad is also looking for K-pop. And what else did you say, Rashad? You said K-pop and something else.
I think
Yes, Latin.
energetic
Oh, Latin.
cinematic,
That's what.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
And
energetic, cinematic hip hop, and definitely Latin music of all platforms from Latin pop to Latin rock, please connect with me if you got that.
Yeah, and so if you and Randy's been up here with a publisher sharing music that he's looking for. So we like having this space where you can do that. If you come to the music listening session, that's not for any particular brief. Some of these people may be there, some other people may be there, but we keep files of the music that's been sent. And if I hear something and I know that they're looking for, I'll gladly forward it to them. I don't take any part of that business wise. It's just if I know that I can make a connection, I'll help make the connection. And I see you flashing, Randy.
Oh, I wanted to say I'm looking for hit songs. I'm looking for, yeah, sure. I mean, I've worked with Latin music, I've worked with French music, but the thing that's most exciting these days is to work with pop songs. And for me, at least, I'm looking for pop songs, and I'm licensing pop songs in films and TV shows. Stuff that sounds like Ariana Grande or, whoever the hot artist, The Weeknd, whoever the hottest artists of the moment are. I'm looking for music that sounds like that. That's the most exciting thing for me personally. But I mean, over the years, I've worked with indie rock, rockabilly, country, a little of everything, jazz. God knows I've worked with jazz. But the thing that happens to excite me, and hip hop, of course, the thing that excites me the most these days is the pop sound, the current radio pop sound. I love AJR. I'd love to find the next AJR. Who wouldn't, right?
Awesome. Cool. All right. So, let me just, before jumping in, at the end of this, we got 45 more minutes, about 40 minutes here, and then we're going to do our after party. That's if you're following the camp, it'll show up in your room. You have to be a member of Control Camp, and you get a member. You have to be following Control Camp. And so if you follow us, if you click on the Control Camp, the little green icon above my picture, it looks like a house, hit follow. You'll see that in that room we don't talk business, we don't talk music. That is literally it's kind of like the hangout after the TED Talk in the lobby of the hotel or something. And that's actually where the real relationship building happens. So come hang with us. Let's get to know you. Anybody's welcome to come on stage. And like I said, we talk about anything and everything except music business. All right. So the last thing I wanted to say about this, we were talking about emotional turmoil and using our gifts to help us articulate and navigate this. I did want to just tap into a couple of strategies that have helped me. One is morning journals. I don't know if anybody does that, but it doesn't always have to be a song, but just getting up in the morning and taking some time to freestyle write about whatever is on your head. So it does not having to think about, oh, is this something thinkable, or is this going to be a song, or is this going to be a poem? But it could just be a stream of words. It could just be like a diary journal. But here's why that's helpful for me. There's there's a lot of books that I recommend, but there's this one book called Catching the Big Fish by an author named David Lynch. And it's short, easy read, real fast, easy book to read. But he talks about, as a creative, how do we dig deep to get the really, really good ideas. And so he's a real advocate of having meditation time, taking time to be still in the morning and just let these ideas come to the surface or come up, or kind of expanding our container that holds these ideas. So, quote from his book that I really like, he talks about ideas, whether they're song ideas or creative ideas. He talks about them like fish. And he says the little fish swim on the surface, but the big ones swim down below. And so if you can expand the container that you're fishing in, which is your consciousness, then you can catch the bigger fish. And so, think about it like if you're just going to kind of start writing a song, you're like, oh, okay, I know ad songs like to talk about happy stuff, so I'm gonna make a song. First thing comes to mind is like, oh, I'm so happy, so I'm gonna write this song, and the chorus is gonna be, I'm so happy, And so that's an idea of like an example of like a little fish. It was an idea sitting right on the top surface. But taking the time to really think about, how am I feeling right now? How do I really feel about the political environment in our country, or how do I really feel about what's going on with the pandemic, or how do I really feel about what's happening, the tension between me and my mother, or like taking the time to really get into the things that are uncomfortable in our subconscious and really get into those feelings. That's where the big fish comes from. Those are the big songs. And a lot of times when we can't focus on the task at hand, or we can't focus on, oh man, I'm supposed to be writing a song a week and it's not happening. A lot of times it's because there's some big fish down there that we're ignoring, and we're not paying attention to, or we're not giving it its due. So if you're at a place where you're like, this, where my mind is taking me is not to an ad place, or it's not to a happy, friendly place, sometimes you have to let yourself go there, because one, it still might be an awesome song, or it may not be a song at all. It might be an awesome book, or it might be a play, or it just might be a string of words that inspire you, or help you articulate kind of what you're feeling. But dealing with that, you have to deal with that in order to get to the happy ad song, because it's sitting there and it's not going to let itself be ignored. So all that's strategies for how I deal with my emotional turmoil. Is I pay attention to it. I try to pay attention to it. I try to give it space to breathe. I try to give it an outlet. So right, getting up in the morning and sitting at my computer, or taking out my yellow pad and just free writing, whatever is on my mind, or whatever was spinning in my head last night. I recommend that. I can't recommend it enough. That, in meditation or anything like that. Anyone on stage, is there any other technique or strategy or thing that you do to tap into your feelings, like the feelings that may take effort to articulate? Anybody?
I have something I'd like to share that's an exercise that is, if you have writer's block or any kind of block of any kind, it's pretty easy. It's been used by a lot of different people, and that's focusing on one word that you feel. So maybe it's like you feel sad, and then assigning, like, trying to go through your senses. So what does sad look like? What does sad smell like? What does sad um, taste like? What is sad? Going through what does sound like, and then creating adjectives to that, or picking just a random word that somewhere puts you in the mind space of that, and then creating adjectives from those words and making columns, and then taking out of that and making a verse and a chorus. And it can be total crap, but it just gets you in the muscle memory of pushing through to get to the core of what you're feeling, and also what you want to write about, or like you don't know what you want to write about, but it can get to the emotion um a lot easier by going through the senses and finding the adjectives. Like, I do this exercise with several clients, and we start with the word blue, and we're like, what does it taste like? What does it smell like? And then we pick one of those words. Like, if we say it feels like the wind, and then, okay, what does the wind feel like, taste like, smell like, look like? And then you have all of these words that then you can use to build a verse and a chorus lyrically. And sometimes that leads you into a space that can help you keep moving.
I love that, bro. That's a great. I've never done that, but I like that exercise. I like that a lot. Cool. Thank you for sharing that. Anybody else? Anything you do to tap into how you're feeling?
Like I said, I don't think I've ever had issues as far as tapping into how I'm feeling. Um, if I have, sometimes I go and, like, I just take a walk. Like I have a song that I made called Broken Vessels, that I had the track for it for a while, and it pulled so much out in the like so much emotion out of me that I couldn't tell what I wanted to write about. So what I did was I just took a long walk. I was walking for like maybe an hour, and I started just asking myself, like maybe what's wrong with you, and from that I started just hearing, just lyrics, and from there, it for me, like, the melody's easy. It's just the context of what I'm talking about. So yeah, a lot of times when I have issues pulling out any type of emotions, is experiencing life at times, or just reflecting back on some things that might have hit a chord, struck a chord at times.
I love that, and I co-sign on the long walks. Steve Jobs in his biography, that's like every time he struggled with an Apple and a design issue or not knowing what to do with the company, he would take a walk. Whenever people wanted to come and have business meetings, he'd have them take walks, because that's where his ideas came. And so I like long walks. I do. I don't know if anybody else, but like if I get on a road trip or if I'm driving for a few hours, like some of my best song ideas or at least clarity around business happens there. And for some reason, also, um, I don't know what it is, but in the bathroom, looking in the mirror, there's something about just being
I,
there. I could be
I
brushing my
wasn't
teeth or
going to
whatever,
say in
but
the mirror.
but song ideas, I don't know why. It's like in that place, I'll be doing something totally different, brushing my teeth, whatever, and the dopest song idea will happen right there at that spot. Like it happens all the time. And I don't know the science behind that, but it does. All right, let's. So this is a good place. We got 30 minutes left. I want to recap a couple of things. And the stage is open if anyone wants to just come up and join in on the conversation or ask a question. It could be related to what we're talking about. It could just be a sync question in general. Feel free to raise your hand. I'm gonna keep jumping. I'm gonna bring up some other topics, but you are welcome to raise your hand and join in. Oh, I got a couple of people. So I'll wait before I start the next thing. Got the homie Ryan Callie on stage. What up, Ryan? Happy New Year.
What's going on? Happy New Year, Merry Christmas, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. How you doing?
Man, I'm good. I'm doing really well, actually. So yeah, I'm just excited for 2022.
I love that.
I,
I'm glad to hear that.
right, yeah. I keep saying 2021. I've been saying it all day, and everybody's correcting me, so I'm finally getting it together now.
That's funny.
But I
So
had a
what's yeah?
question.
Go ahead, go for it.
Yeah, so I mean, you already know my record's So LA.
Mm-hmm.
And we were trying to get it on All American. I wanted to know if anybody had any connections to music supervisors for the new LA shows that are on Netflix, like The Real World at Los Angeles, and it's another Los Angeles television show as well that I wanted to pitch it to.
Okay, so let me give you a little game, or you probably already know because you could send it our way, we could do it, but that song is so specific, and you got it. You know the shows already, so you've already done some of the work. That one step of finding out who the people are is just an IMDb Pro search away. You know what I mean? Like you get on IMDb because if you send it to me, that's where I'm going. I'm going to find out who those people are. I'm going to find out where the email address is, and I'm going to send them a cold email if I don't know them. And so and then and I'll take 25% of the song to do that. But you've done all the work, so you could
Right.
do that.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I definitely know, I already did my IMDb joint and everything. I didn't necessarily want to do a cold reach out to them versus I
Okay.
know sometimes you guys have music supervisors on here that are already connected and may have a relationship that may be able to push it along faster than me building and really reaching out and things like that.
That's valid. I don't know the best way to find that out other than maybe to DM somebody and be like, "Hey, I know," with a specific like, "Hey, I'm trying to get to John Smith, who's the supervisor of this, and I see you two are friends on IG, or do you happen to know him? Would you be able to pitch the song?" Like you could do that type of work. But I'm want to encourage us this year, especially you, because you're so fast with your writing, and you got not just that song, you got other songs coming. I think you can do those things, but I think you specifically, I'd like to see you get into that cold email game. It's like, why not? You know, why not do that?
No, that's definitely true. I feel it. I appreciate it. I was trying to take a shortcut when I should just go ahead and do it, put in the work, stop being lazy.
I appreciate you, though. That's dope. Mark, what's going on, man?
Eric, how you doing, brother?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I got the serious studio burn today. It's been at it since the minute I got up, and I'm still doing it. But
Are you
you know
working on
how?
a particular brief or cataloging song?
Uh, actually, two songs, and one is for a brief, and one's just one we're anxious to get out there and pitch. So yeah, we're doing good, man. Definitely excited about the new year. I think it's going to be a real good year for I Do, my little team, and I don't really have a question. I just want. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, he's
Okay.
good.
I don't have a question. I just want to say hi. It's been great listening to everybody. It's on stage now, and feel some really good vibes coming from you guys, and appreciate everything you said. That's it.
Thank
That's it,
you.
man. Everybody
I
have a
appreciate
great new
you.
year.
I appreciate you, even Orion, like you guys sharing. I don't want to presume. I'm glad to hear. Like I'm excited about the new year too, and I'm glad to hear. Um, I'm glad that there are voices coming to the stage talking about the excitement because I think I've been speaking mostly to anyone who might be struggling, and that in the effort to not overbalance it one way, I probably overbalance it the other way. So some this is a time I think of mixed feelings. Some of us are like gung ho, and we want to be here as a community. Like if you're gung ho and you just need to know what steps are, or you just need some cheerleaders to be like, yes, we're all going together. We're here for
Well,
that. And then,
yeah, I got some good news too. I didn't think about it till just now, but I want to say a couple things. When you said struggling, I mean, we were all going through this thing, right? I mean, who doesn't know someone that's died from the COVID and everything? It's hit me very personally, family and stuff. So but that's it's good to hear you guys talk about that a little bit too, because we're all going through it together, so we can just kind of support each other emotionally and know that nobody's not been affected, and we just have to keep trucking on, right? And I forgot what else I was going to say.
no, but I appreciate that though. I appreciate that 100%, and definitely sorry for those that you lost. Yeah, a lot of us I have some that very close to me that have suffered from this as well. So
Okay, I
I mean, my
remember the good
condolences there.
news to counteract that dark cloud. Uh, I think we got our first two placements. It's just in emails so far. We haven't signed a contract, but I do believe we got our first two placements, and they're oh, I'm so tired. I can't even think what they're for. I want to say sports thing, but I can't remember right now. Anyway, it's this company that we've been reaching out to and sending a lot of songs to their briefs online. It's called there's probably people who know them. It's called Medio or MDIIO.
Oh, I've heard of them. Yeah,
Yeah,
not familiar,
and
but I have heard of them.
yeah. So I'm a little skeptical because they seem small and we don't know them yet. We don't really have that long term relationship, but they definitely reached out to us and said send your stems and stuff, and it's moving along. So it looks real good. So we're excited about that. And I think once we get that first couple of placements, it's going to give us a lot of leverage to get more respect in the industry and stuff. So I'm
I
excited.
love. We'll keep our fingers crossed for that one, Mark. Keep us posted. That's
Thank you,
awesome.
brother. Thank you.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
man. We'll see you.
All right. Let me make sure I PTO so I got people in the right order. Nina, got you up next. How you doing? Wait,
Hey
I'm sorry.
Eric, how are you?
Yeah, I'm
Wait,
good.
am I
I'm gonna let
next?
you know. No, you go ahead. When I PTR, it slowly showed that I skipped Shelby, but go ahead and I'm gonna come back to Shelby
Oh,
since it
Shelby,
started.
if you want to go, go ahead. Go ahead, love.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Shelby.
Hi. So I guess my question, it's anyone can answer, but I guess I was kind of asking it towards Jesse. Just I just am curious to know a little bit more about your journey in becoming a music supervisor. Because I'd love to become an assistant to someone, and I'm just curious, I guess, what's the best route to do that?
Well, my journey was kind of accidental, to be honest. I've like a lot of people here, took a class with Kathy Heller some years ago, and that's how I learned about sync. I had gotten syncs prior to that, but I didn't know what they were for because they came through my partner's publishing deal. But once I learned what it was, and I made it my business to be fully educated about the business and to make as many connections as I could with music supervisors. Last August, one of one of my collaborators reached out to me because he had a long-term relationship with the music supervisor. They had known each other, but not in a musical capacity. And one of the songs I worked on with him, and then another song of mine got several placements in an HBO show. So fast forward about a month later, the music supervisor of that little situation at HBO was looking to add a woman to his team because he had all dudes. And he was like, we're like missing the mark on this this trailer they were working on, and we need a woman. And I was nominated, and I had like a 5-minute conversation with the music soup. He's like, yep, you're the one I'm looking for. And for the first trailer I had to do, I curated 4 original songs within 24 hours and found a bunch of amazing songs through my connections with sync agencies that I know, owners of, and people I've collaborated with over this last year or so. So shout out to collaborations, because I would not have been able to level up as quickly as I had in my career this last year if it wasn't for all the amazing people I collaborated with. And so I joined the team, and it was supposed to really only be for that one project. But because of, my skill and my work ethic and my dedication, he was like, I want to keep you on. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm doing this now. But to be honest, it's not something that I sought out. It just kind of fell into my lap. But I found out through the process of doing it that I'm really talented at it, which, when you first get asked to do something, you're like, I don't know how I'm going to do it. I'll figure it out. But I had so many amazing people around me, and music supervisors that I've met here coming to the control camp, other women music supervisors who supported me and gave me knowledge and told me, what it is I need to do, what'll be asked of me. I always ask them about pitfalls, because that's the thing that most gives me anxiety, like not what I know, but what I don't know. What don't I know that could hurt me? So I always ask a lot of questions, and people were really open and just gave me what I needed to know. The most important thing I would think for you, if you want to get into it, is collaborate. I don't know if you're an artist as well, but being that I'm a producer and an artist, collaboration was my ticket into a door I didn't even know that I wanted to walk through. So whatever talents you have, whatever dreams you have, I would say collaborations could definitely be the key to what it is you want to accomplish. And I believe people should stay humble. I know that's not like a popular thing nowadays, but I believe humility, consistency, persistence, and a work ethic that speaks your name in rooms that you haven't walked into yet make all the difference, because people speak my name before I even arrive somewhere. And I think that these qualities that I was raised with in the society that we're living in aren't exactly being lauded or really looked for all that much when we're looking at social media and stuff. But in the business, behind the scenes, these are the parts of character that people are invested in and looking for. And so if you can manage to do that, no matter the twists and turns your career will take in this music thing, then I think you're going to be super successful. And feel free to hit me up on IG. Just like I've been helped to get where I am, I will, pay it forward.
I have some adjacent jobs as well that I would like to throw out that might be able to help you on that path towards becoming a music supervisor. For one, there are a lot of positions at music publishing, such as Universal Music Publishing, Warner, any music publisher. They usually have a music licensing department, and there's always a TV clearance department. I would definitely say that, any job like that gives you hands-on experience and knowing the nuts and bolts of music clearance especially at a high volume, like a major publisher, that's going that's gonna like really pad your resume when you do have that opportunity to apply to work for a music supervisor. So that's one way. The next way is if you can get a gig working at a sync agency or a production music library situation. Any of those where you're constantly doing music searches. If you can get a gig where you're doing creative as well as just music clearance, then that's going to be the way to go. But even if you are doing 100% clearance, most of the time when you're applying to get any kind of music supervision related gig, they're going to be more so looking for that knowledge as opposed to just knowing you have great taste in music. So hopefully that helps a bit.
Definitely. Thank you.
For sure.
Good advice all around. Thanks for the question, Shelby. All right, let's continue on. I got Nina, and then Broadway, and Dream Tonic, and then Alicia. Nina, how's it going?
Hey, Eric. Hello. Good night to everyone. I'm an artist and a songwriter, and my question is, and it's probably been answered before, how would an artist go about getting placements? Do you only suggest, just like I heard earlier, the advice of going to IMBD and looking up music supervisors? Is there another way? And part B is, should an artist just focus on creating a catalog?
Good question. No, actually, I was talking about doing the self pitches. So for an independent artist, I think the primary ways to getting out there are working through a sync agent. You can pitch yourself. You can also, some other ways are kind of pitching through music libraries. Like we've covered a lot of different um, ways throughout the year. But through all the conversations we've had in the last year, the number one thing that seems to work for independent artists specifically is building up a catalog and pitching that music through a sync agency. There is a really good talk that we did. If you go to the Control Camp profile, the second to the last talk that we did in March. It's on. I mean, not in December. On December 8th, it's called Indie Artists Getting Major Streams from TV Placements. So we featured Tamara Bubble, Daraj, Psychosis, Callie J. These are all artists who all have like between 100,000 and 1,000,000 streams without doing anything other than pitching their music primarily through sync agencies. And so if you check out that episode, they all talk about the strategies they use, how they got started. They give their specific stories, but over and over and over, we've heard all year that, out of all the things you can do as an independent artist, there's a lot of strategies that you're doing now will take money out your pocket. Like if you're paying for a Submit Hub, or you're paying for PR, or you're uh, paying for some other type of promo. But sync sync agencies, if you get a placement, that placement people are shazamming your song, and you're getting that Shazam leads to streams and a fan base, and something that you're also getting paid for. And so we've heard that so much over and over that I'm convinced that that's, as an independent artist, if you want to focus on creating music, I'm all on board for getting the attention and building relationships with sync agencies, like Rashad, who's on stage, owns his own sync agency, and there's others out there you can Google and check, and we talk about some in that episode. But that's the number one thing that I recommend.
Thank you so much. That was so helpful. And I just want to introduce myself to everyone. I'm Nina Monet, because I see some amazing people on the stage. And hey, and I'm hungry. I'm ready to work. I'm currently working on my album. I got 20 songs already, in my, on my, I'm having a brain freeze, but
We got you.
basically in my email already ready to go. But I was thinking about hard drive. That's the word I was looking for. And I'm still working. So great to meet all of you. Thank you
That's dope,
so
Nina.
much.
Come through,
Thank you.
submit some on for Saturday's listening session. We'd love to hear there. This Saturday, if you go
Oh,
to
what time?
it's 3 o'clock on Saturday here in Clubhouse, and then you can go to controlcamp.com and submit a song. Submit one song on the website, and then just show up Saturday. And if you're in the room, we'll play the song and give some feedback on it.
Oh, definitely. I would love that. I will be there. Thank you so much for all this information. You guys are
And
awesome.
we're definitely
Our
open
pleasure. Our
for
pleasure.
collaborations too, Nina.
Oh, hey. Do I slide in the DMs? Do I hit the email? Let me know.
Go for it. DM me.
Okay, sounds good.
De Lamont is dope. That's a good offer. He's a plug right there. Broadway, what's going on?
What's going on, everybody? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Thanks for this platform. I'm an artist. And I just started getting my feet wet with producer for myself. So I was just, I wanted to know, this is like a few things. I don't want to, you know, do libraries and agencies accept is it opportunities for instrumentals only, or do they prefer full songs? And I wanted to know, should you formally copyright your songs before you submit? Is that make or break if you didn't copyright them already?
Two good questions. So as a producer, and this is good, I meant to bring this up earlier when Adam was on stage. If you're a producer, there's a couple of different ways that you can get out there. And again, we don't. A lot of times, my purpose in starting the room, and then Daraj and I, who's one of the co-founders of Control Camp, we both, early on talked about kind of what we wanted. We never wanted to have a room where we said, this is it, or this is what you should do. We always just wanted to share what we did and then give a voice to other people to kind of share their experiences. And then you could kind of make your own kind of decisions. As we've talked around this, I mean, we've been doing this over a year now. So we've been hosting a lot of rooms. We start to hear some of the same things, and it becomes clear that certain strategies are really working. So actually, another room, like I recommended one to Nina just a second ago, but another room, especially if you're a producer, but a room that we did that I recommend people go back and listen to the replay. It was on November 17th. It's on the Clubhouse Control Camp page. It's called 5 Proven Paths to Income in Music for TV. We keep hearing about these 5 paths over and over that work. And so as a producer, one of them is creating production music for libraries. So libraries do take instrumentals, but their instrumentals need to be arranged differently than you would say for an artist, because you're not going to do verse chorus. They're arranged a little different. So we talk about that and that replay. Also, if you're an indie artist, of course, pitching music to sync agencies, and there's some other things like scoring music for TV shows or doing custom work, bespoke work for custom companies. But I really feel like if I were starting over as a producer today, doing tracks and instrumentals, what I would really be doing, I might be pitching some stuff to libraries, but what I would really be doing is finding independent artists and getting them tracks. Because everything we've heard over and over has said the fastest path out here are for indie artists to get with sync agents. And those indie artists need tracks. This is our time to do what we've always wanted to do in the major label scene, which is develop our own artists or get tracks to the next hottest artists. And these next hottest artists are coming up in the sync world. So finding artists who are dope and developing them, or just finding artists who are already signed to sync agencies. A lot of agencies put their artists on the website. And those artists have their music. You can kind of spend some time with some of the bigger agencies or different size agencies, just listen to the music and be like, hey, you need some tracks. So if I were starting over, this is my own recommendation, that's what I would be doing. I would be getting music to indie artists and then helping those indie artists get relationships with sync agents if they don't already have one. If anybody else on stage
All
has
right, thank.
a thought, you feel free. That's just my thought. All right. Dream Tonic, what's going on?
Happy New Year. Thank you so much for the room. You're always keeping it real. So thank you.
Good to see you, Kristen.
You too. So I know about the strategies like, using TuneFind and IMDb Pro to find the music supervisors. But, taking it one step further, I know cold emailing music supervisors is an art form and can be met with mixed success. But is there a strategy that you could recommend to figure out which libraries or which sync agencies that particular music supervisor for that particular show is using?
That's a good question. I don't know that I have a way of doing that in a fast way, other than having just an organic building and taking the time to build an organic relationship with the supervisors. I have talked to like a supervisor at an advertising agency, and he shared, "Hey, here are the companies that I deal with, and these are the companies that I do custom work with. So if you want to do custom work for ads, deal with one of these companies. And here are some of the so." But that came through, an organic relationship, somebody that I had already been talking to, had taken the time and, over weeks and months to kind of build up a convo. I don't think you can come out and ask somebody that. I don't just say maybe might be like, "Hey, I have some music for you. Um, and I know you deal with certain agencies. Do you have any that you recommend?" Some maybe they might be protective of their relationships because a lot of the agencies don't always open themselves up to receiving new music. So, um, other than looking at the supervisor and kind of maybe checking out their social media and seeing kind of who they follow or who they're engaged with, that's another clue. I'm very big on internet research. There's just so much information out there that you can find out about a person by just kind of seeing where they are in social media. Rashad, you got any thoughts on this? Is this something that, what do you think?
Yeah, I do. I think one thing that can be done is, browsing through certain agencies that are making a buzz and kind of looking at usually every agency, if you go to their website, there's going to be a page right in front of you saying work, brands, and, recent placements. And, like circling through agencies and kind of seeing which shows they're connected with, that might be a reverse way of like hopefully coming across one who you see lands frequent placements on shows that you would love to be a part of. There's that, and then just adding to the whole internet research. I feel like also sync agencies, especially ours, like when we get a placement, the one of the immediate things we do after it airs is share that clip and then hashtag the name of the TV show. So if you were to search hashtags of that TV show or project that you're trying to get your music in, 9 times out of 10, if someone landed a placement on that show, it should fall under that hashtag. So that might be a good way to kind of like backtrack to see, who was involved in the music or involved in getting music to the supervisor on that project.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
That hashtag, that's a gem right there. That's gold. Cool. All right. Alicia, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm in Oregon.
Oregon?
How are you?
I'm good. You visiting?
I'm kind of stuck here during Omicron. So I'm waiting. Yeah. But it's good. It's a good place. It's just, rainy.
Oh.
But is anyone from Oregon here? No.
You might be the first that I've seen in the camp, honestly.
Probably unlikely.
Why, you guys? That's why I don't live here. Like the music scene is not here as much, but yeah, I'm kind of in the studio all the time, just working on tracks. And this group has meant so much to me. You guys have no idea. Like, there's just a lot of wisdom and also like really good concrete information, and it's just really awesome. So way to be. So yeah, my question is actually kind of interesting. I was wondering what sync agencies and licensing agencies um pitch for TV shows abroad, like in China or in Japan or in I'm just confused. Like I've heard people that have gotten placements out of country and I don't know how that's worked.
That's a really good question. I I know some people. I'm trying to think. So there's a couple of different ways. I don't know this on the agency side. On the music library side, there are music libraries that have what they call sub-publishing deals. And so there could be a US based library, but they have a relationship with libraries all around the world. So they might partner with an agency that's in the UK, they'll partner with another one in India and another one in Asia, different parts of Africa. And so those companies are pitching to local shows in the local entertainment area, um, but they have access to the catalog of the U.S. entity. And so a lot of times agencies will do these deals with other agencies because they're like, hey, I can pitch your stuff to U.S. shows, you can pitch my stuff to, you know, French shows, and then they have an arrangement on how to split, any fees that come in. So that's on the library side. I would imagine agencies are similar. Rashad, have you seen anything differently like that?
Yeah, on my end, we actually get different abroad briefs that come through. So I think it just depends on, what agency and their relationships. But similar also to what you said about the music libraries having sub publishers. A lot of agencies in the U.S. might have relationships with agencies in Australia or agencies in the U.K. And in a similar way, we can, then pitch to our agency that we're partnered with and overseas to rep your work. So I mean, it just really depends on, I guess, the specific agency and their relationships.
Awesome. Does that help,
Thank
Olivia?
you. Yeah, I was just wondering about that. And then I had a brief question about like initial sync and licensing and publishing companies you'd recommend to approach if you're pretty new, like you haven't had your first placement yet. But I've been doing a bunch of research and I have a bunch of names. It's just I feel like getting your foot in the door, and I think this might speak to a lot of people here, is kind of hard. But yeah, I guess you just yeah, I don't know. That's all. Like which ones you might recommend if you're just trying to get your foot in the door kind of thing.
Um, Wait, so your question was just more so you haven't gotten any placements, so you're wondering if there are more like agencies to submit your music to that might be more favorable to people with no placements versus people who already have a resume? Just making sure I understand your question.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Like
yeah,
beginner.
with that, I would say be bold. Like I would knock on every door I can, and wouldn't even uh, have the factor of being turned away due to not having enough skin in the game, quote unquote. Just because, I mean, I don't know. I feel like at the end of the day, like anyone in a that's like an agency or getting placements, they want to have a part in breaking an artist. So I think that just makes everyone involved look that much greater if they can bring on that hidden gem who you went from zero placements and your music is just that great to now it's landing like hotcakes. Then they look like geniuses. You look great. So yeah, I would say just knock on whatever door you want to knock on in that regard.
And the only thing I'd add to that is I totally agree. Like, you got the music, put it out there and put it on as many doors as possible. If as a new person, if you are unsure that your music is ready, or you're not sure where you are, then you have organizations like ours that do these listening sessions where you can get your ears on your music. There are other people also that might do listening sessions. There's other groups on Clubhouse that do listening sessions. Like, take advantage of as many opportunities. Other people's opinions are just opinions, but the more that you hear, the more that you know, as well as doing your own measurement. Like, listen to music that's actually landing on TV or ads or whatever your goal is, and try to do an objective comparison. Is my music there? Do I have the production? Do I have the mix? Do I have the lyrics? And getting some objective feedback from experienced people will help you get to a point where you say, you know what, I've got the music. They don't know me, and I don't have any credits, but I know my music is at bar and at level. And if you feel that way, then pitch, pitch, pitch. But I feel like before the pitch is, um, you know, create music and make sure that I'm, as far as objectively as I can, make sure I'm hitting the bar. And maybe it's do that end pitch and do that end pitch. But the more that you can do the objective up front, the more better chances you have when you get to the pitch side.
Awesome. Thank you. You guys are awesome.
Cool. And last but not least, we got Danielle. How's it going?
Hi. So, I want to say that I found you on TikTok and you came across my For You page months ago, and you told me to come join the Clubhouse group. And I haven't gotten not one notification from Clubhouse since then. And this was months ago. But starting the beginning of the year, I was like, what is a goal that I would like to reach? And the first thing that came to my mind was, getting a placement on TV and movies. And I kind of just wrote that down. And literally today, the very first notification I got was for this room. So I'm like, okay, I'm supposed to be in here. I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to, soak up the information. So I'm just so very much grateful to you for providing this platform. I had to play it. I just need the platform, But
That's all.
I wanted to say that I heard, I think it was Trey. He spoke about someone looking for someone who had no experience in the industry or anything like that. And that's kind of where I am. I write all day, but I'm not in any type of communities to do anything like that. I'm not a producer. I'm not an engineer. So if anybody in the group is interested in an R&B writer or a vocalist or anything like that, just hit me up. I'm following pretty much everybody in here. So I'm going to be, look for me in your DMs and check the request folders if necessary, because I'm definitely trying to work and, bring my creations to life and collaborate with a bunch of other creative people.
This is awesome. You're in the exactly right place. So you're part of a community now. So you're on Control Camp. You got the notifications. Did you get an email about today's room?
No, it was just.
Are you on the email list?
I don't think I'm on an email list.
Okay.
I just got a
Clubhouse
notification.
So I'm going to put this at the top. And this for everyone up here. So everyone should make sure you're on the Control Camp mailing list, because we're about to take this community outside of Clubhouse. The website will be beta tested next week. And so all the things like the briefs that we're talking about, all the briefs, the listening sessions, we'll still do them on Clubhouse as well, but you can go there and find out exactly who's looking for music. We're going to partner with a bunch of agencies. We're going to have regular list of music that we're looking for on there. And we also have a collaboration corner. So you'll be able to put some of your music out there, or lyrics or other things, and find producers can find singers can find engineers, like teams. The big things that we all need, we need a team. And so right now, just within Clubhouse, we can kind of talk about these things, but I'm building a place where we can actually, be, online, working, finding each other, listening to other people's music and seeing who fits, who works together, and then using that music to actually pitch for real stuff. And all this is going to be free. It'll all be free and freely available, and we're going to grow it, and it's going to be really, really awesome. So this link that I'm posting, it's on controlcamp.com, and it's the sign up link. If you click on that, make sure your email address is on there. There's something wonky happening with the WordPress, so sometimes if you enter your email address, you may not get a confirmation, or some people haven't. I think like for every 5 or 6 people that get added to the email list, there's one person that emails me that says, "Hey, I didn't get a confirmation." If that happens, then just send me an email. The email address will be there where you when you sign up. Send me an email with your email and information, and we'll add you to the list manually. But anyone who's not on our mailing list, sign up. You'll learn about the listening sessions. You'll learn about the new community. You'll learn about all the pitch opportunities. You'll learn about all the free education and everything that's coming. It's going to be really, really heavy in 2022. So be sure to be on the list. I think you'll really get a lot out of it, Danielle.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Cool. Glad to have you. Speaking of community, we're going to wrap up here, but we're going to transition over to our after party. And so this is something that we do here on Clubhouse. After we do this formal room, we do an informal room, which is only for Control Camp members only. So you have to be following Control Camp on Clubhouse, or the room won't even show up. It'll be invisible to you. So make sure you click the Control Camp that looks like the icon that looks like a greenhouse at the top of the screen, and make sure you're following Control Camp here on Clubhouse. And then when I sign out of this room, the after party, it's not a sync room. It's a community room. So anyone can come on stage. We get to know one another. We get to chop it up. But we don't talk about sync placements. We don't talk about sync licensing. We just, it's like kind of like if we were hanging out after a TED Talk in the lobby. This was real. Every conference I've been to, the real relationships and how I really got a lot of my placements was not in the panel. It was outside of the panel, either at the bar or in the lobby, just kind of chatting and chopping up with people. So that's how after party works as well. So if you're able to hang around and stick around, come in there and let's get to know one another. Rashad, thanks for hanging in. I'm eager to let you know as we launch this thing. I think you'll find it a good asset for when you're looking for music, being able to post. We can partner and post some briefs up, or at least you can see it as an outlet to put your needs out there. So I definitely will keep you posted as it launches.
Looking forward to it. I appreciate y'all having me. And yeah, I'm about to bounce. So y'all have a great night.
Cool. Have a good one. Everyone else, Jesse, Delamoss, Tim, Adam, Mark, Shelby, Nina, Kristen, Alicia, Daniel, everyone on stage. Thanks for hanging, and thanks for chatting, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for having us.
Everybody in the audience.
Thanks for having us. I'm going to the after party.
Yeah, we
through,
heard it was
come
an
through.
open bar, so we're
Right.
That is what's up. Thank you all, everyone who's in the audience. Thank you for tuning in. This replay will be available, but if you didn't hear the announcements at the end, we have a listening session on Saturday. If you can go to controlcamp.com and submit one song on our website. There's a submit link right on the homepage. You can submit a song, and then Saturday at 3 o'clock Eastern, we'll be back here on Clubhouse playing. If you submit a song, any song you can submit. It's not like you have to read a certain bar. If you just want to know, it could just be a work tape or a demo. You just want to know, hey, I want to, before I go produce this, will this work for sync? And come bring it to the listening session. Let us put some ears on it, and you can get some honest, objective feedback. And it's very constructive. We don't tear apart people. We don't. Anybody who's been there will let you know it's a very productive, supportive place. And then Sunday we're back here also. Saturday is the listening session at 3 o'clock, and Sunday at 1 o'clock is film score convos with Matthew Head, Emmy Award-winning composer. And we always have some other surprise composers popping in there. So if you've ever thought about scoring films or scoring TV shows, you want to pop in there and see how the pros do it. All right. We'll see whoever coming to the after party, and if you can't, appreciate you coming in. We'll see you guys at the next event.
After the show was the after party, and all right, see you there.
Right.